reptile room, where the baby screams, where the creatures bloom, landing all of your dreams in the reptile room.
Hello and welcome to the, what did we name this? What did I name it last time?
I don't remember.
Let me go.
A Baudelaire book club is what I remember, but I do not think that's what you called
a
it.
book club of unfortunate events.
Club of unfortunate events.
Although the
Hello?
Baudelaire book club would be, I feel like, because that's got the BBC.
Yeah.
I think that's why. I don't know. We'll see. ABOUE, you know, it's like a Song of Ice and Fire, but it's just depressing kids and like there's no sex.
Mm.
And that's a good thing.
Nope.
So,
Mm-hmm.
anywho, well, that's a terrible time. The Reptile Room is a book published in 1998, I believe. 1999?
It was published by the time I was a child.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
When you were, yeah, you were younger then, but it was there. Yeah, okay.
It was there for me then. It's there for me now. The only consistent thing in my life. Series of unfortunate events.
That's funny. It's a double entendre. Oh man,
Mm-hmm.
Before we get into like the synopsis, I was thinking about this earlier. Is brief, just overall, like how would you rate the book in comparison to others? Like your just like opinion as a kid, just as like, did you like the book? Was it anything like that? Before we get into it.
Yes, I really liked the book. This is one of my notes. When I was a kid, I really liked snakes and reptiles and stuff, and I was like, oh, fuck yeah. Reptiles, frogs. When talking about the frogs, I got really excited. I liked this book a lot as a kid. I like it better than The Bad Beginning, and I think it's only gonna go pill from here, baby.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I think a lot of what I said about the first book carries over to this one, where I think it's written with a level of care and intelligence for the audience, which is very unique. I think it's good. I like that it doesn't shy away from darker topics just because the audience is children.
Mm-hmm.
So I like it quite a bit.
Well, I'm glad. Because that's the point. That's not the point. I'm being silly. I was adjusting audio. I'm like, you have to say
Didn't
something.
hear a word I
No, I
fucking said.
did. I heard all of it is the thing. I absolutely did this time. I'm sharper than I've ever been. Oh, I'm sharper than I was last time. Bought that pencil sharpener. No, I really like the book, and I have, like, as a kid, what I recall being my, like, favorite book, or the one that I, like, happen to have read the most amount of times. But I will say that, like, Reptile Room was always really cool. And, like, we'll go into it later in the back half, because I do have some comments, which I'll probably write down. Now that we're actually talking about it, my brain can be like, now you can think about it. So that's kind of cool. That might also just be something I got to realize in myself is I come up with it after, like, in the moment, because brain hard. So, oh, there we go. Okay, you're there. But yeah, I think it's real fun. Yeah, just a little statuesque. Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh man, who chiseled this statue out of marble here? It's so intricate.
Yeah, and then spilled hair dye all over the place.
That's just art. It's a freedom of expression, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so it was very fun. As a kid, I really liked it. I thought all the snakes were cool, obviously, because snakes are sick as fuck, and who doesn't like them? And
who doesn't like snakes?
It always sucked that they couldn't live there because the Reptile Room seems like the greatest place on earth, and it was. So, rest in peace. But that's
we'll
it.
Get there.
Yeah, this was good. This was in like top 5 books, as in. This is the last time we have a real positive one of these for a while. Like the good in this one is the best it's going to get for a long time, which hurts more. But I believe you had written a summary.
I did write a little summary. So the Baudelaire children are sent to live with their Uncle Monty. He's not really their uncle, but like it's fine. Who's
Montgomery
he's a snake
Montgomery.
scientist. Montgomery Montgomery, the snake scientist. And they seem to really enjoy living with him. He seems like a really competent and loving caregiver. Uh, and this all comes crashing down when his new assistant, Stefano,
Steph Nation rise
comes
up.
to help them with what?
Steph Nation rise up.
Steph Nation.
Steph
Okay.
Nation does not recognize
Um,
Stefano as a formal Steph. Just to be clear, we
right.
distance.
Fuck Stefano.
Mhm.
This stuff we do not stand.
Can't stand him actually.
So the new assistant Stefano arrives to help them with a trip to Peru. But of course he's not really an assistant. He is Count Olaf in disguise. Um, Count Olaf kills Monty with the help of one of his assistants, tries to cover it up to make it look like it was one of the snakes that killed him. Uh, and while Count Olaf is trying to steal the children away, he runs into Mr. Poe, and that kind of throws a wrench into things. Count Olaf is quickly exposed as himself, and then as a murderer, and then he escapes with the help of his assistant, and the children are left once again in the care of Mr. Poe.
Through a very surprising amount of coincidences as well, do they end up with Mr.
Right.
Poe. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We kind of end where we start, but with things worse.
As always,
On the
with these
horseradish
fucking
lane.
bugs.
Yeah.
Right. Lousy lane next to the horseradish factory.
Ugh. Sentences you can smell. I'm gonna pause real quick. 1 second. Sorry about that. I had to run in with a syringe.
Yes.
So,
Correct.
thank you. Yeah, of course.
Snake wave.
The snake bites.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say,
Snakes do bite. Yeah, they've been known to.
there's a lot of snake biting in the book too, which is fun because I feel like they don't focus on the snake bites too often in media for children in particular.
Yeah.
No.
Protecting the youth from the knowledge of piercings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the herpetology, the snake bite. Yeah, you understand.
Yeah. I understand.
So I know we have points we want to get into, and my dumbass didn't think of anything until now. But while I am thinking of it as a bookend ranking system of we're ranking the Baudelaire kids on like which ones were the most impressive and like did good shit, I think that we could also do a real quick like retrograde on the previous one is how would we rate Count Olaf's plan?
Oh,
Like, because that's I think a whole fun thing. Because like then we can have fun with like how dastardly evil and contrived it is.
I like this. I like this quite a bit. This is genius.
Oh,
Okay.
you got all excited. This is fun.
I got excited because I've got thoughts about this. I think the fact that his plan has to change because his original plan is to just get the kids to Peru with Uncle Monty, presumably kill Uncle Monty in Peru.
Where the laws
and
are
then,
like where it's less able to track them and all that. Yeah, he makes all threat about it.
And then Klaus's dumbass is like, "You're not going to Peru. Uncle Monty doesn't like you. He thinks you smell." And he's like, "Okay." And then he has to on the fly kill Uncle Monty right now. I think that gives him bonus points. I think that this is a very good plan, and the fact that it was presumably like, if not thought up on the fly, like I don't know, like the timeline was moved up
Yeah.
significantly. Because it seems like when Violet opens his case and he has like syringes and vials and stuff, like maybe that was his plan all along, was to poison him with snake venom and make it look like a
Just
snake bit.
probably in Peru, at that point.
It's probably in Peru. He just had to he's like, okay, fuck it, we're doing it now. And like, so I think this was a good plan.
I think so too. I think I think I conflated this with Wide Window, but it may also happen again because the tattoo on the ankle, is always the dead giveaway. It's the ringer, and it's very fun to see over the books because like Bad Beginning, that's a 10 out of 10 plan because that was some batshit insanity, in my personal opinion.
Right.
Like that was some absolutely insane, like odd, like for like as nasty as Count Olaf is, like, he's not stupid. Or he is stupid, but he's not unintelligent. Like, he's crafty. And he, like, for as much as he fails, does he really if he has a chance to do it again? Like, you don't stop him. So I think that gets like a 10 out of 10. But like when like they're like, just fucking pull up his ankle. Come on, let's do this. And he's like, with what?
Yeah.
And the kid's going like, don't know what to do.
I would have been losing my mind if I was Count Olaf. I would have been so fucking, I would have lost my cool. Just like, stupid orphans. I thought of everything.
Just like, oh.
That's why I couldn't be Count Olaf. I get too uppity.
Yeah, you get too worried. You get too. Well, I think he does too. I think like he does like he like you can play into his ego, which I think the kids do. They already did in this one, but they do a lot as well. Is like as much as like Count Olaf is doing everything to hurt them, like or pseudo hurt them. Like they are learning and adapting to him and can kind of like bank on like make a distraction so that I can go and take care of shit and like the struggle. But to go back for just a second, I will say that my heart fucking dropped when like I guess I related as like a young kid to like Klaus being like, you know what? Like I've just fucking had it with you and your power play. Like you're not even going to Peru. He tore up your ticket. Like checkmate. But it's like you may have just killed Uncle Monty. Like unintentionally. Yeah. What was that? Oh.
Well, I was just being like,
no,
you don't win this one.
No, it's like, and then you have to understand adults don't play fair, and that like what you did is you showed the hand, like that would have like that could have actually worked, and they could have gone to Peru. I don't know. Yeah. But like not finding out until they're all the way at the ship that he's not coming, or whatever. But like probably would have crashed the cars, and we would end up in the same boat again, or they wouldn't, but we would. Back at the ranch.
Right.
So
that was a fun little bit where it was like, you get the ranch.
It's like,
and it was just over and over again. That's cute.
There's no ranch. Very fun. I was thinking about something that we had said. I think you had mentioned last time, where sometimes like when he does explain it, it's like that's not like fully what the word means. And I don't know if it's just different. Like he kind of adjusted that since then, or if I'm just paying more attention to it now. A little bit of both. But I will say that, like, I think it's more of him explaining, like, it's not that, like, this is what that word means. It's more so, in this context, this is what you're supposed to be getting from that. So it is a little bit of, like, sometimes you're understanding it. Sometimes you're having to just kind of, like, pick it up. But, like, it's always, like, very clear, like, what you, like, to describe this feeling or what they just said, it is like this. And in, like, that level of weirdness is, like, the closest thing to it. To have the same level of like frustration and stuff. And I just thought that was really cool this time around.
Yeah, I think, the same.
Same. And not different.
Same.
So, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, what else did you have for me? Or let's get into it.
Yeah, my notes. Well, my first note is just, I fucking love coconut cake, which is true. I tried coconut cake for the first time because of this book, and I was like, I fucking love coconut cake.
Oh, that's so cool. I don't know if I've ever had coconut cake. It'd be fun.
I fucking adore it. It's good.
Like shaved coconut?
Well, it's like coconut cream.
Ah.
And then there's like shaved coconut on top.
It's like crunchy. Good. Yeah, it's like that weird kind of crunchy, no? No, shaved coconut, I mean, I should say. Shaved coconut,
yeah.
Or I don't know how to describe it.
A little bit.
Like, because it's not crunchy, but it's
like crisp. Like,
yeah. That's the one. That's the rub.
Yeah. What else? Count Olaf in this book was really, I guess this is an interesting way that the first book and this book play together. Where, like, Count Olaf...
Alpha and Cuda play? Where? Someone hide Violet.
Like, Count Olaf consistently only goes after Sunny. Like, he threatens to cut her foot off, or her toe off in this book. And, like, keeps threatening the children with a knife.
Yeah.
And I think that, that speaks a lot of to his character. of like, not only is he willing to go after people who are weaker than him, he's willing to go after the weakest member of this family, a literal fucking baby.
She is the strongest
because
jaw.
he's like, correct.
Yes.
But
it's a tactical move. You understand. She's their strongest fighter. You're spawn camping, you know? She's only going to get stronger. Tank. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Every battle she becomes hardened, and like it's harder for Count Olaf. Like he's just a guy trying to just make a quick buck, and he's just trying to eliminate obstacles.
He sees Sunny's potential as the strongest Baudelaire orphan, and he's trying to cut her off now while he still can. Exactly. Before it's too late. She becomes too powerful.
Take care of your strongest opponent while they're at their weakest, you know? It's never worth picking off the easy ones. Like, you can clean up the easy ones at the end. So, the easy part, you know, like Klaus. You just gotta, like, shove him a little bit, and he'll be fine.
You just gotta go, like...
Well, he already did beat the shit out of him, and it's...
Ugh. Right. He's proven that he's willing to hit Klaus and children.
Yeah, absolutely zero care, regard. With, like, kind of, like, going back to his plan... And I think that it was very good. And there's a whole other bit that we forgot to mention in the, like, we didn't go over in the summary, which is just because that's what the point of this part is. So we can go into those details. Is when Uncle Monty dies, they end up like going to the boat, and then Mr. Poe, they just so happen to crash into Mr. Poe, and the sheer amount of like who's on first shenanigans of the configurations of the car is hysterical. As a kid, I hated it, but as an adult, I was dying.
Yeah. With that, and then again, when they get back to the house and they're like, we've introduced like the doctor and Uncle Monty's corpse to like this shenanigans of like, well, how are we going to get the children in the car? And it's like, Uncle Monty can't drive, he's dead. And
the kids can't be
specifically in that one where they're like, yeah, it was that one, and it's like, well, we can't just leave the luggage here. And it's like, Mr. Poe, we've got much bigger fish to fry in this fucking instance. Mr. Poe needs to get his shit together. That was one of my other notes. It's like,
Mr. Poe is the villain of this one again.
Fucking honestly, and I just feel like even if in your heart of hearts you do not believe that this is Count Olaf, like, you've already fucked up once with these kids. You owe them like a freebie. You know what I mean? You owe them just like, okay, I'll humor you just this one time and we'll go somewhere else away from this stranger to like talk about this. And he's just so unwilling. He's like, no. He doesn't have the tattoo. He claims to be named Stefano.
He doesn't have an eyebrow and he has a beard. And we all know Count Olaf has one eyebrow and no beard.
Right. How could he possibly have changed his appearance in order to get... That seems ridiculous.
Says the guy.
I'll believe Count Olaf is capable of murder, but not shaving his face. Yeah.
No, yeah, like he's just so unhelpful, like cuts them off. Like the more that I like in this book in particular, I think I remember messaging you about how like it was hard to read because I finally like had the time to like start reading it and like actually dedicate the time, because once I started it I was like, okay, like this point I'm like halfway through the book, I'm just gonna like kind of just plow it out for about an hour for about an hour or so, and then you finish. And it was, I related so much to him in the like not being allowed to speak up or like not being believed or just always like it's just not worth it because like you've that push of resistance, and it's like just the like breaking and wearing down I like just recognize so much as like that it just like I didn't realize that like that could have been a reason I identified so much with the books as a kid, to be a little psychoanalytical, because that's kind of what this is too, is like, you know, realizing how how much you relate to it as well, and like how kind of beautiful these books are in that sense of like laying foundation, because like just not being able to say anything, not being able to do anything, never being believed is so frustrating. And like the sheer amount of times that they have, like they're saying all of the evidence, like please just for a moment be on our side, like why would they just make this shit up? And it's like, well, Uncle Monty just died, so they're clearly crazy.
And it's like, it's really like disheartening to see already in book 2, the kids are like, we can only rely on ourselves. Like, even though Uncle Monty is like nice, he's not gonna help us in this situation. Even though Mr. Poe is technically a human being and he's fucking useless. So we have to do this ourselves. This is something that we can only rely on each other for. It's really sad to see that already.
Mm-hmm.
And like, because again, like, I know it only gets worse.
Yeah, it we're getting close to running out of like actual guardians. As a small spoiler warning, like the actual related guardians that are good to them fully. I will say as a little teaser, I cannot wait until we get to meet the triplets, because like all that stuff that I'm like, those are deep in the books that no one ever like talked about as a kid. So I'm just like, we're getting there.
Yeah. We just gotta
Get there.
a couple more books,
Yeah,
like
and
2 more, and then we get to the
I'm
triplets.
starting to feel a lot more confident about this too. Like now that we've done this process, I'm like, fuck it. I want to just like, I'm just gonna fucking read it as soon as I can. Just get through these, get to the goods. The one note that I had made, I'm gonna say it was merely an observation that I find very hysterical, because in no way do I think it was intentional. But did you happen to catch the part where, in a way, Sonny calls Count Olaf a futa?
Yeah, I did.
She says futa,
I
and I
noticed
just
that.
went. I wrote it down.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh, someone doesn't know what that word means.
Yeah. I'm like, you just throw letters together, and that's fine. But like, it's just very funny
Like,
that as an adult.
I know. Yeah.
But then, like, in canon of like, that's what Sonny's calling him. I'm like, you know what? I don't know where that's like coming from, Sonny, but okay, I'll allow it. You get a pass.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're silly goofy.
very, very silly, goofy. It's just.
Yeah.
Or what else? So, what else did you have? Or if you want to
So
keep
I
going.
was just my part of the book that I was like, this is hard to read, was when they're packing up the snakes, and
Yeah.
like at the very end when they're like, the kids are all crying and they're like, you did everything right, and it still wasn't enough, like, to each other, and then they're
Like
like waving goodbye to
we
the
can't
snakes,
rely on
and then
Mr. Poe anymore. We are now in a way, through all of this they are now a more cohesive unit. But then they're putting the snakes
Right.
away. Continue.
and that made me
Please.
really sad, just because, like, I don't know, like, realistically, yeah, they couldn't have kept the snakes. Like, snakes are a lot of work. Any pet is a lot of work, especially like dangerous, like, vipers that needs
An
like
incredibly deadly
specific
viper.
things. Right. But I don't know. I just feel like it would have been
Why couldn't
this
they hug
one
the
little
snake?
thing
Why couldn't they hug the snake?
if they yeah, at the very least, if they couldn't have kept the snakes, they should have been allowed to say goodbye to them. And the fact that, like, that misnomer thing that was like a joke at the beginning, like, twists the knife at the very end, where it's like, you can't say goodbye to the incredibly deadly viper. It's an incredibly deadly viper. Why would we let that around a child? And
It's like, it's a whole
that made me
misnomer. It's like, why would you do that? That's stupid. And the guy's just like a
that's
fucking
stupid. It's
dickhead.
like,
And that
mhm.
like the smallest of kindnesses to these kids are still taken from them, and
Yeah.
it's just brutal. It's that, like, having to say goodbye with, like, either like through moving or saying goodbye to an animal, like, where you don't have choice.
Yeah. And it, like, I don't know if everyone at home knows this about me, but I'm a crazy dog person. It's like, I love my pets so much, and it made me really sad to think, like, not even being allowed to say goodbye
Like, you just
to,
have
like,
to
an animal that you've, like,
see them in the
grown
car.
so close to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It made me sad.
Yeah, it's not fun when things with Monty, like the first couple days of their week with Monty, things are really fun. Like the Reptile Room as a character in the book, or as a scene that kind of has a life of its own. It's this amazing that would be the only reason that I decide to go back and actually give the series, the television series, a good watch through, is because I want to see the Reptile Room again. Because I haven't seen I think I watched the first couple as a kid, or when they came out. I don't remember though. At the time,
I definitely watched the movie when I was a kid, and I watched like maybe the first episode when it came out, but I don't have very clear memories of it either. Yeah, I think it would be really incredible to see. It's like, I guess as a kid, I remember
the
the
snakes were
Reptile
cool
Room
as
being a
fuck.
little
I
bit.
wanted to be a herpetologist
I
because
remember
of the
them.
book.
I remember them being like a little bit more realistic than I was like than it was. Like when I was a kid, I was like, yeah, there's such a thing as like two-headed newts. That's fine. And then I'm reading it now and it's like a frog that looks like a church. And I'm like, how did I ever think that that was real?
Well,
And
it's kind
like,
of possible. Like,
I guess.
they're in like a you're kind of having to squint. Frog looks like a church. It doesn't say. No, there's none of these. No, this is just
It
a
like
crazy
describes it
thing.
having like, yeah, stained glass eyes.
Oh yeah, that one in
and
particular.
like
Yeah, no, it's
being
not possible.
like shaped like a church.
Yeah, like, I
Yeah.
know like sometimes like
So
frogs could like have like their like toads have like all their warts and shit that give them like camouflage. That could be. I was like thinking like a steeple is what my brain was, but I forgot about the stained glass eyes. Yeah, no, that ain't it.
yeah. And like I think it was like a snake or a newt that could like type that wasn't supposed to be allowed around a typewriter. Um
Mhm.
but like I think like a TV show or a movie could do something really creative with that and like kind of make it seem like the reptile room being seen through children's eyes where it's like everything is fantastical and like magical almost.
It's a better
And
Fantastic Beast
just
movie.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck J.K. Rowling. Hashtag Lemony Snicket Gang.
Fuck J.K. Rowling and also those movies were fucking boring.
Yeah.
Whoops. Oops. Ah.
The only saving grace is
Fight
that the
me.
actor that plays Newt Scamander is very hot. Like he's like I would just watch it for him. And then the American dude who's with him. Like it's purely that's it. Like the only movie I've never watched them. I've just seen videos of people tearing it apart. That's it. Which is video essays, the way we all consume content.
That's the best way to consume media is to have someone else watch it and then tell me their thoughts about it in multi-hour screed.
And if I like it enough, I'll go and watch it. And then it feels fine.
Right, if you've made a compelling enough argument. Me with my fucking Twilight video essay thing. Not video essay, my Twilight master doc.
The big book.
The big 42-page
Thoughts.
thing that I keep in my life. Anyways. That's not the point. This is not Twilight Book Club.
Not
this
yet.
Is not yet.
Oh, that could be
Don't
fun.
tempt me.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. We are bigger than our stomach. That can just be in the future. We can think about it, but
We'll talk about it later.
we gotta finish Reptile Room first.
Yes. So the snakes made me sad, and then oh my god. So I sent you a playlist, and I don't think you knew what it was. But there's this band
it
called.
was very cool, and I could not figure out how to get back to it because we talked too much on Instagram.
Right.
Did you send?
There's this band called the Gothic Archies, and they made an album called The Tragic Treasury, and it's series of unfortunate event songs. And the way that I found it, okay, let me start.
We'll pin the playlist as the top comment so that people can see it.
Right.
I'll do that.
So I'm dyslexic, and as a child, I had a very, very hard time reading books. So if I'm ever like I read a book as a kid, I almost always mean that I listened to an audiobook of it as a kid, which it's the same fucking thing. If you want to fight with me, fight with me.
No one's fighting you.
But the
You're
point
safe now.
is,
You can however
in a
you
safe
consume it, you
space-
consume it. It's okay.
I needed to hear that. Okay. The point is, those songs would play at the beginning of the series of unfortunate events audiobooks, and that's how I found out about that, or
that's
that's
so
how I
cool.
encountered these songs. They're very cool. They help, like, if not describe the plot of the book, they help set the tone very well. And the Reptile Room song is the best one. No question.
Perfect. Well, we'll include it in the like either in the description or in the pinned comment because I don't want to like have to get the video flagged because we played it. But I did listen to the Bad Beginning, and the Bad Beginning was good. I do remember that.
They're all bangers.
And I was
Reptile Room is the best.
all right. Well, then you and I will have to listen to it once we're done recording, because now I want to know. Oh, Kale,
Froze.
are you there?
Hi. Okay, there you go.
Was I frozen for you?
The whole thing was frozen.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I think it's just adjusting the internet. So, yeah, we'll watch it. We're gonna listen to it afterwards, after we're done recording, because that'll be fun. Because now I wanna. I didn't get that far because I was doing shit. So,
yeah,
hell yeah, that's so cool. So that's exclusive to the audiobooks. Like they made it for them. I guess they must have.
Yes. I don't know. I don't remember them being in the show or the movie, and I know that they were on the audiobooks. So
yeah, as far as you know,
in my mind, they were made for the audiobooks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you don't have to worry about like making a claim and being wrong. Like I don't care. Like if that's just like as far as you know, like yeah, okay. If it was from something else, oh cool. But yeah, no, I mean, I never even knew that they actually that those songs existed. You sent them to me and I went, these like have like official artwork and shit. Like this looks like Brian Helquist, I think is the author or the artist's name that does all of it. I think so. And I'm like, ooh, that looks like his art. I'm like, that's cool. When the fuck did these come out? So
they're really cool. I like them a lot. They're like short, like 2-minute songs, but they mean so much to me.
They just like have the vibe. Like it just like in this world of alliterations and secret organizations and fires and unfortunate events, it's like again multiple times in the book. Actually, I don't think there was as many warnings in this book as the Bad Beginning, but there was like right before like Uncle Monty dies, they literally say,
there was like a few.
yeah, go ahead and stop, as well as don't ever I tried to read the whole page, I couldn't do it. Did you?
Yeah. No. Absolutely. I did not process every single ever. I got the bit and then I moved on.
I did as a kid, I will admit. But I tried to do it again and I said, why? I already know where it's at.
Yeah. Well, as a kid, I was listening to the audiobook, so I experienced every ever. But
oh, yeah, you lived
it. I was there.
You were the fourth Baudelaire child.
It's me.
Yeah, Baudelaire. Hail the Lair. Like Claire de Lune.
Hail the Lair.
I just, yeah, I shouldn't say that's filler word. Yeah. I don't remember.
Those were all my notes.
Those were all your notes?
And my thoughts, unless you have anything else to add.
I mean, just a lot of frustration with the continuing theme of adults just assuming they know better, as a little bit of psychoanalysis, kind of recognizing that, for anyone who does need to hear it, like, that's not normal. Good adults in your life will take you seriously and listen to you, or at least take that into account, because, I remember as like a kid, my mom and like her fiance at the time, my shithead Jerry guy, he like they like would make comments about how like, yeah, like my sister lies a lot, she likes to make stuff up, and I'm like, oh, like, why is she so shite? Like, why does she do that? Like, cause like, why would my parents lie? And it's only as an adult that I've realized, like, no, like, they were fucking crazy. Like, they absolutely lied all the time. And it's like, yeah, you would just, I didn't realize it, but it's like, no, I was being gaslit as a kid. And, being told that, like, denying a child's reality and, like, the adults that those people turn into, it's like, it can be a lot without anybody intervening. And, like, you just so badly wish that they could have just an extra moment with these adults who actually care about them. But even then, those good adults like Uncle Monty couldn't fucking stop for a second and just listen to the kids.
Right. And there's like the constant assertion in these books that it's like, well, kids lie all the time, but adults don't. Like, things that Count Olaf say are like taken at face value, but not the children because it's like, well, they're
The guy
grieving.
holding the knife with
So
the baby, like
yeah.
the biggest liar looking person in the room, and it's like, well, we'll give him more grace than you kids who have like yet to actually be proven to have lied.
Right. And I do think that throughout the next couple books, my opinion of Mr. Poe is only going to get worse.
His
Yeah.
inaction is truly, well, it's not even like inaction, but just his ineptitude, and like they play him like a fiddle, and like to think like, do you not question why this guy is so insistent on not like, have you not noticed that he doesn't want to be separated from the kids? Is that not weird or suspicious?
Yeah, where it's like, why is he always insist? Like, even if he wasn't Count Olaf, the fact that an adult wants to be alone with the kids like this should be a red flag, and it just wasn't for him. And like, I think like there's a scene in the book where he thinks Sunny is being attacked by a snake, and like she's fine, and he freaks out, but he doesn't do anything to save her. And I think that's a really good like, I don't know, that's very like in character for him to be like he does care. He wants these kids to be safe, but he's
when you in the moment when you
incapable
need
of
him,
doing more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not someone who's gonna save you, even though he might want you safe. Like
He's also
and
the
that's
one
just not
that keeps
enough.
bringing you from bad situation to worse situation. Although it's well intentioned, it was just, in a sense too, is a nice criticism of the foster system and the vetting, and as much veneer and like not believing kids because they're troubled or what have you. And it's like you're all making all of these preconceived notions for labels that you put on the kid,
Right.
and it's just so disheartening. And it's like I feel a much like stronger range and a wide like array of emotions when reading the books, and like this like I'm very like excited when we do get to the end and we finish the end, which is the last book is called The End, which I always loved. I thought that was just very like, yeah, okay, that makes sense, yeah. But the like when it's all said and done, when it's all finally resolution, like as adults with our feelings about it, I feel like we're going to like I'm very curious to see how we're gonna feel, I should say.
Right. It's like it's not just like I'm sad that the kids are being put in these situations. It's like it's a multi-layer sadness. I'm sad that they're in these situations. I'm sad that no one believes them. I'm fucking ready to fight Mr. Poe. Like
Throw hands.
there's layers. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, honorable mentions, which maybe that's something that we do for next time, is like for those little side, like my Futa comment, that would be like an honorable mention side piece. Just, we should, I don't have a pen. I felt really silly and I didn't grab one earlier and I didn't want to get up again. If you don't mind, just...
Here you can,
oh, thanks.
you can have mine,
Thump.
yeah.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Yeah, let me just...
I will write down honorable mentions.
Yeah, just as like another like category to make it a little easier to organize.
Okay.
Also, apparently, there we go. Can I please? There we go. Honorable mentions. Perfect. Honorable mention is the doctor, which is just the hook-handed man with fake hands, is fucking hysterical. Like,
that was really funny. Because like at first I couldn't remember. I was like, I know that this is one of his assistants. I don't know who it is or how it's revealed. And then they're like, he's got like weirdly stiff hands. And I'm like, I know, I remember this. I
like immediately is like, because at first I was like, wait, is it Olaf? And it's like, no, it's someone else. But like the fact that he like calls him boss the whole time and he like listens to him and he's the doctor.
The fact that he just like doesn't act like a doctor. He's like he's like, I want to get coffee, and Olaf has to be, or like Mr. Poe has to be like, why don't you deal with the body?
He's like, oh yeah, sorry, I used to eat breakfast before I came over. It's like,
yeah. It was funny.
It was very good and cheeky in that, like, oh, this is all about to fall apart. Because at the same time, like, for as great as, like, for as crafty as Count Olaf can be, it is also a very big, like, show of the system of, like, how obvious so much of this shit is that people just don't notice because they don't want to. They
Right.
like don't want to assume maliciousness, which maybe like I'm at fault sometimes for that too, but like I feel like you can kind of get a vibe from somebody though, like based solely on behavior, like the words they use. You can start to pick up on that kind of stuff. But, and then I think the only other thing that I had was that, I don't remember. I thought I had something else, but I guess I don't. And I guess if I do, I'll have to honorable mention it next episode. But
Right.
I think, oh, it's paused for a second on your end, so we'll wait for a second. Yeah.
Okay.
Just a little bit. Oh,
There we go. There we go.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think now we just go into the Baudelaire rankings.
Yes. So I think last time I was like, Sunny's not gonna rank highly until later in the books, and I was wrong. Sunny is my number 1 for this book. And then Violet, and then Klaus. Those are my rankings.
Yeah, actually I feel pretty good about that. Yeah.
Yep.
I was going to put Sunny lower, but then I had to think about like just how like her role with the incredibly deadly viper, she gets so much personality and freedom to be herself because she's not in a cage the whole time.
Right. This is like the first time she's really been allowed to be like a character in her own regards. And I think the fact that she, like, with the distraction she made with befriending the Viper and like just all around being there for her siblings, I think she's the MVP of this book. And then Violet specifically climbs the ranks for me with that last scene where she makes a lockpick device and breaks into the suitcase and reveals Count Olaf as Count Olaf.
She doesn't let her panic get her over. Yeah, it's good. And Klaus, sorry.
Klaus read a couple books, and it's not to say that he isn't important, because he is, and I think that's something that these books do pretty well, is to like evenly let the kids contribute.
Each kid gets a moment to shine, and it's never stole. Like it's never like they're never sharing the spotlight.
Right, and this just wasn't Klaus's. He didn't impress me as much as the sisters did.
Because his big thing was that like, oh, we know that Monty wasn't bit by this like mole mamba because the way that he died, it wouldn't match up with how that snake kills. He was clearly used a syringe and then another like stab to make it look like that. And it's like, that was really good. That was really cool. That helped like kind of start to realize that like everything's there, but it also didn't have too much of an impact at the same time. And I don't remember how much he grows as a character, like where his like things he does go above and beyond just his book smarts. But I do know that a lot of it too is that the kids tend to bounce off of each other. Like Klaus was going to give up, and Violet's like, no, look, just start reading something. We have to just we can't waste the time that we have. If we don't get anything, we don't get anything. That's just the way it goes. But we can't not try, and that like kind of snaps Klaus out. Yeah.
And yeah, I think you're right. They're all there for each other in like a really sweet way, and can like inspire each other and like get going in a way that like no one else can.
I think the last thing maybe for me, the last thing for me that I want to bring up was it's a very like heart-wrenching scene where it's the night before Monty dies, and the kids decide like they go to the movie, they don't even talk to him, and so they have to remember forever that they ignored him the last night he was alive. The kids also at no point ever thought to just like write a note, cause a distraction, and slip it to him. which I thought was kind of interesting. I never thought of that as a kid, but I did think of that as an adult. Like, why didn't they do that? That would have been a good idea. Like, because if Count Olaf physically cannot keep an eye on all three of you at all times. But,
but yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, that was also like a very sad scene to just, or like sad in hindsight of like, I'm sure at the moment they were very wrapped up in thinking of what they could try to do to literally stay alive, but just to know that, they could have had a little bit more time with this person who's like genuinely a good guardian and like genuinely seems to like love and care for them, and then that opportunity was like wasted.
Well,
is like really sad.
I think it's important to note that the kids themselves viewed it as that opportunity wasted, but as the reader, we understand that no, that opportunity was taken from you. Like you at the same time, you could not have known that. So it's not like unreasonable, and it is important, I think, to teach kids to be kinder to themselves as well. Like, in hindsight, you could, like, if you want to guilt yourself, you can. There's enough, you're always able to. But to forgive yourself is so much harder, because being realistic, like like anyone else, you don't know. But the big scene that I meant to say was that following that, they all sleep in the same room, and they're all having a breakdown and crying. And Sunny is just like pounding her fists on the floor and just crying. And there's like a whole like paragraph about how Klaus and Violet, like, they so badly do they wish that like they could be like Sunny, where they could just pound their fists on the floor and cry and not have to come up with stuff.
Right.
And the level of like understanding, respect, because in that same paragraph, Sunny, who is only doing that because she has nothing else she can do. Like, it's almost like, as much as they wish they could be like her, she wishes, like, without saying it out loud, it's that like implied that like she wishes she could be like that. Like, she's just an infant. She can't do anything, but she's also not incapable.
Yeah, like if she wishes that she was in a position to help her siblings, but she's not, so she's doing this. And the other two are in a position to help, but they wish that they could vent their frustrations in a more like, and they embrace their own like childness.
Like, they should just have the room to be upset, and they can't because they don't have time.
They need to figure something out, and they don't have the space that they need to like process their emotions. Yeah.
It's this book, and like, he tells you from the get-go, it's not like he tells you that Monty dies like right away. I'm pretty sure. Like something bad will happen to Monty. Like,
it's like someone will die in the reptile room, or like Monty says something like, "No harm will befall you in the reptile room," and he's like, "That's true." Because harm will befall Monty in the reptile room.
He's like, the book, it's like the irony, and he talks about it and explains irony of like, the irony of the statement is that we as readers know that the Baudelaires will truly never have anything happen. So, and it's like, nothing happened to them, but oof. So, yeah. Well, I think that's all I got. I'm out of steam. I think that's like a pretty good amount. How do you feel?
I'm done.
You done?
I said my piece.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess it's time. Something about a wide window, maybe, for the next one.
So I've been hearing.
Okay. Cool. Well, thank you so much, Kale, for making this video with me. This was a lot of fun. Thank you guys all for watching. Have you read The Reptile Room? What parts did you like? What did you think of Count Olaf's plan? If you guys have questions,
in the comments below. What's your favorite snake?
Yeah, what's your favorite snake? And if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave them. And if there's any that are like interesting or like, like kind of discussion based, maybe we'll like have a little recap section at the beginning of the next one. I don't know, just getting excited with ideas. A little crazy, a little fun in the reptile room. So, alrighty. Well, good luck, good night, and don't click on the next video because it's only going to get worse. Bye.